The sun is setting on Petco Park. Known as America's finest city, tonight we are in beautiful downtown San Diego at the home of the San Diego Padres. Tonight, it's the home of Monster Jam. 14 superstar athletes are here ready to compete for the overall event championship on the road to Monster Jam World Finals 20 in Orlando. This is Stadium Championship Series 1, and this is Monster Jam. Welcome to Monster Jam on NBC Sports. I'm your host, Scott Jordan, alongside the Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior Bryce Kenny and our pit reporter, Leslie Mears. And Bryce, tonight, Stadium Championship Series 1 comes to Petco.
Well, there are some fierce competitors on this tour. I cannot wait to watch Tom Mintz and Max D. Fire go up against Jim Kohler in Avenger. But you have 4 former triple threat athletes that are currently heading into tonight, all in the top 7 of the season standing, so it's going to be intense.
A great combination of rising stars and grizzled veterans in action tonight. 17 World Finals championships are represented. And right now, let's meet the superstars of Stadium Championship Series 1.
Justin Sipes, Flaherty, Kentucky, Megalodon.
Jim Kohler, Avenger, Columbus, Michigan.
Camden Murphy, Itasca, Illinois, Bakugan Dragonoid.
Steve Sims, Stonecrusher, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Cynthia Gauthier, Quebec, Canada, Montezuma, Dalmatian Ice.
Eric Swanson, Obsessed, Menifee, California.
Brad Allen, Detroit, Michigan, El Toro Loco.
Brian Wright, Hooked, North Carolina.
Jimmy Creighton, Tonganoxie, Kansas, Bounty Hunter.
Don Creighton, Tonganoxie, Kansas, Scarlet Bandit.
John Gordon, Bag Company, Hiram, Georgia.
Ryan Anderson, Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, Son of a Digger.
Tom Mintz, Max D. Fire, Paxton, Illinois.
Morgan Kane, Currituck, North Carolina, Gravedigger.
We are ready for action inside Petco Park. 14 trucks, 3 different competitions. America's Best Contact and Eyeglasses Racing, the Grey Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, and Freestyle. 14 points will be awarded to the winner of each individual competition, all in pursuit of the overall event championship. Coming into tonight is Camden Murphy and Bakugan Dragonoid with 41 points out in front of Stadium Championship Series 1. For more information, let's go down to the track with our pit report brought to you by Superbook. It's time for round 1 of America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing. Let's take a look at the bracket. Look there in the middle, Bad Company and Stonecrusher automatically advancing to round number 2 based on position draw. Bryce, looking at the bracket, anything that stands out to you?
That bottom left matchup, Max D. Fire versus Megalodon, that's teacher versus student there. Tom Mintz, Justin Sipes. But round 1 right now, you've got Morgan Kane engraved there versus Jim Kohler. Morgan's so fast, look at that tight turn.
Nice and smooth, and it is Morgan Kane, a photo finish. Very, very close, possibly the closest matchup of the night between 2 World Finals competitors. Now we have Eric Swanson in Obsessed and Brian Wright in Hooked. A little wide on the turn for Eric Swanson, up over the freestyle pad, and it's going to give Brian Wright in Hooked a clear shot at the finish line.
On 18.070, that is lightning fast. But Megalodon versus Max D. Fire right here, you realize the first person to teach Justin Sipes how to drive a Monster Jam truck is Tom Mintz. But it clips a little bit of a turn car here in the final turn, gets a little crazy over the finish line, and Justin Sipes takes out the Monster Jam University professor.
And not often that student best teacher. Let's look at Scarlet Bandit against Ryan Anderson, Son of a Digger, who spins out a little bit. And Scarlet Bandit with the upset of the night so far. Don Creighton moving on to round number 2.
That is a huge upset. Ryan Anderson going out in round 1. But Brad Allen and El Toro Loco catches a little bit of an edge there. Flips the turn car, somehow saves it. But Jimmy Creighton and Bounty Hunter moving on.
Camden Murphy and Bakugan Dragonoid up against Cynthia Gauthier, Monster Mud Dalmatian Ice. Good job for Camden Murphy. Cynthia taking the turn a little loose, and Camden Murphy hits the throttle and across the finish line for a big win. Moving on to round number 2. It is time for Inside Monster Jam. Let's hear from Camden Murphy, Bakugan Dragonoid.
My mindset's a little bit different going into this year for Stadium Tour. First one, so there's definitely a little bit of pressure. We got Spin Master on board with the Bakugan Dragonoid Monster Jam truck, so a little bit of pressure there, but not only that, we have a lot of great veterans on this tour. So many world champions, so definitely some pressure. I didn't expect it, leading points going into this very first weekend. Honestly, I didn't really believe that we won it. You know, I mean, we did really, really well. Everything just worked out perfectly. But I didn't expect it because there's so many great world champions on this tour. But hopefully we can carry that momentum into the second weekend. It definitely changed the approach. Leading the points going in here in San Diego, there's a lot of pressure on me. There's a big target on my back right now. I know like Ryan and Morgan are definitely going to be coming at me for sure, but it's definitely got a target on my back. In the new truck, I hope to show the fans some big air, crazy non-stop action that they've never seen before. It's a brand new truck, so they've never seen that before, but honestly, taking some of the arena stuff that I know, bringing it to a stadium, something they've hopefully never seen before. The difference between racing in a stadium versus an arena is with the stadium, you have so much more room, you're wide open a lot longer, and it's about being smooth. Now sure, you gotta be smooth in both of them, but you're so much more wide open in the stadium than you are arena.
Now we're going to move into America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Round 2. Let's take a look at the bracket. Gravedigger, Bad Company, Hooked, Megalodon, Scarlet Bandit, Stonecrusher, Bounty Hunter, and Bakugan Dragonoid. Bryce, what matchup stands out to you?
Well, this matchup here with Morgan Kane and Gravedigger and John Gordon and Bad Company, because they are friends off of the track. But as soon as those helmets come on, the friendships go out the window. And Morgan Kane puts John Gordon on the trailer early with that big win.
And Brian Wright in local bicycle action stops it just inside Megalodon. A nice run, a clear shot to the finish line. And there's Justin Sipes. Megalodon moving on to our semifinal round. And Brian Wright with a flip over and saves it. A little too early for freestyle. No extra points given in racing.
This is a huge win for Don Green and Scarlet Bandit. It looks like Stonecrusher maybe caught a little bit of a rut. It'll be interesting to see if that lane is getting tackier. Maybe ruts are starting to form. But Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter is taking out Bakugan Dragonoid's Camden Murphy with a huge 18.345. That's a lightning fast pass.
Take anything away from Camden Murphy. A great time for him as well. 18.8 in Bakugan Dragonoid. Let's take a look at your America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Semifinals. Gravedigger against Megalodon and Scarlet Bandit against Bounty Hunter. The Fast Four are on the way. There's a look inside the cab of Morgan Kane's Gravedigger. And on the other side, Justin Sipes and Megalodon coming over from the Triple Threat Series Central stage.
Well, both of these individuals have won championships in Triple Threat. And so they are ready to take out the other one. And Morgan Kane is so fast around that first turn. And I like that left lane a little bit better than the right as well. And you can see from Morgan, he's able to grip the corners a little bit. And he's getting across the finish line first.
And look at that time. Morgan Kane and Gravedigger with the fastest time of the night, 17.963. Monster Jam, we've seen brother against brother, father against son, even father against daughter. Now Bryce's time for husband versus wife in racing.
Well, you know Jimmy is ready for this race. He wants to make the finals, and he's not going to lay down for anybody. But Don Cretin, if someone's going to get in his head, it's going to be his wife. But Jimmy Cretin with a lot of horsepower in that Bounty Hunter machine, smooth corners, listen to his throttle, very consistent turns, and easily gets across the finish line to take out Don.
And in a battle of husband versus wife in America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing, it is Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter winning the battle and moving on to our finals. He will meet Morgan Kane and Gravedigger, who continues to get faster round after round, Bryce.
Well, that left lane is critical, and Morgan Kane and Gravedigger has lane choice for the finals. That's going to get in Jimmy Cretin's head because I have not seen any driver or any truck make it through the right lane and get to the finish line cleanly all night long. And so Morgan definitely has an advantage heading into the finals.
In a battle of two former Monster Jam World Finals champion, there's the look inside Morgan Kane's Gravedigger cab, getting off the starting line very smooth. You see how tight he takes that turn up over the turn corner and off the ramp a little sideways. Can Jimmy Cretin take advantage of that? Got a little bit off that turn.
Well, he didn't let it affect him at all because here he goes across the finish line, getting that America's Best Racing Championship in 18.334. That is a lightning fast pass for the final run.
Morgan Kane with a great run, had the fast time of the night in the semifinals, took that into the final round and won the 2016 World Finals Racing Champion, off to a great start in the 2019 season.
Well, Morgan Kane has been fast all night long because he's been smooth. Jimmy Cretin thought he might have that answer with a little bit extra horsepower out of that Bounty Hunter truck, but he was in the right lane, and that right lane proved difficult for most competitors.
Yeah, lane choice always important. Right now, let's go down on the track with Leslie Mears standing by with Morgan Kane.
Morgan, the left lane was giving everybody fits tonight except for you. You picked up the fastest time of the night in that semifinal round, and you chose that left lane. Why?
Because that's what it's all about. The left lane, if you feel good, you got to stay consistent. And that's where I won my world championship in. The left lane, you got to make sure that you're always turning left, because that's what we're used to. So any chance that you are able to run a good time and put everybody in the lane that they're uncomfortable in, you have to do that. But hats off to this guy right here. He's been working on his game, you know. Last weekend, he stepped in for my crew chief, Parker Hatcher. He had an injury and unlucky, but it is what it is. We're rooting him on from back at home. But Tim, he had to completely rebuild his truck. He did a great job putting this truck back together during the week and coming out with the win here in San Diego.
And the celebration begins for Morgan Kane and Gravedigger, your America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses racing winner. Here's your racing point standings, 14 going to Morgan Kane in pursuit of tonight's overall event championship. One competition is in the books, 2 more still to come. Scott Jordan, Bryce Kenny calling the action inside Petco Park. It's Stadium Championship Series 1, and this is the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge.
Well, as a driver, this event probably makes us the most nervous because a lot of the innovation and evolution in the sport of Monster Jam starts with this competition. Tom Mintz has developed the nose wheelie. He's perfected it. We're all out there looking for that wow moment. Tom Mintz has had a lot of wow moments. He's starting this off with a backflip container, easily gets that Max D fire truck up on the nose, and this is a guy that could probably sit here on the nose all day long if he wanted to.
Look at the control, Bryce. He is standing up on the front 2 tires, moving forward and trying to inch it back a little bit. He is moonwalking it back, setting it right so close and down on the backflip container. What a wow moment. Tom Mintz in back to the fire.
Oh, he's not done here. He's going straight into his donut, and no one can do a better donut than Tom Mintz. And that's a nice cyclone go. Look at the speed and revolutions. And he's on 2 tires that entire time.
Doesn't quite land it, but what a great way to start the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, a 9.278. The professor of Monster Jam University. Not to be outdone, Ryan Anderson, son of a digger, with a bicycle to start his run. The first hit bicycle, a very tough trick to nail with that balance.
He always has so much control with that. So that first bicycle was really, really good. It looks like he's going for a second one, too, to try to wow these fans. He doesn't quite keep it on those 2 tires, and 6.856, I think that's a little bit of a low score.
And if you're Cynthia Gautier in Monster Mutt Dalmatian Ice, and you have to watch Tom Mintz and then Ryan Anderson go before you, that's got to shake up your nerves a little bit.
Well, she's trying to do something that no one else has done. She goes for a slap wheelie there, and obviously she doesn't quite hit it the right way to try to bring the front of that Monster Mutt Dalmatian Ice truck up in the air, but a really nice wheelie, and if that pod wasn't shaped the way it was, she probably could have walked that across the entire floor.
Here are some highlights of the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, starting with Jim Kohler in Avenger trying to hit a sky wheelie. Not much elevation, but a nice wheelie on that straightaway. Coming up on hit number 2, there's the sky wheelie he was looking for. Some good elevation on that. That's what Jim Kohler was looking for. The fans, not so impressed.
Well, Brad Allen and El Toro Loco, he's trying to give the fans something they've not seen before, but unfortunately, it doesn't work out for them. But John Gordon in Bad Company goes for a nice bicycle here. Doesn't quite turn into the dirt like you want to if you're trying to get a nice bicycle, but the second attempt, he does, and it's a much better result.
Our BKT Top 5 leads us to Inside Monster Jam with Justin Sipes.
The difference between arenas and stadium and the 2-wheel, it's a lot different. There's a lot more floor space out here, so we can hold whatever 2-wheel skill we're doing longer. We can do the bicycle, which is not really a thing in the arenas. It's definitely different, and I got a lot of learning to do. I know that I have to gain ground, but when I put the helmet on, the object is to go out there and win, put on an awesome show for the fans, and that's what we're gonna do. And if that leads me to the championship, that leads me to the championship.
Justin Sipes making that transition from arenas to stadiums. Bryce, you've done that. Do you echo his thoughts?
Well, you can roll the dice a lot more in the stadiums, and that's what Justin Sipes is a professional at doing, and he's done a lot in Megalodon. gets a nice popper off of that backside race lane into a moonwalk, reversing all the way across the pad. The fans are going to love that. And he goes back to what he's done a lot of in arenas, which is a nice sky wheelie, and the fans are going to really give him a nice score of an 8.
Justin Sipes Megalodon making good use of that space. Up next, more from the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge in San Diego. For the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge is taking place. Here's your BKT Great Clips 2-Wheel Top 5. And here are more highlights. Steve Sims in Stone Crusher getting up over the crush cars. A score of 4.166.
But Camden Murphy has really developed the skills in the arena. Goes for a bicycle here. It looks like he cut too much into it a little bit too quickly. Ends up on his roof, a 4.283. I know he's going to be frustrated about that.
Yeah, didn't quite get enough to save that. Don Creighton Scarlet Bandit, a little jump, gets a nice little wheelie, not a whole lot. The score does reflect that. Here comes Morgan Cade and Gravedigger with the bicycle. Didn't look like he had enough of it. Gets up over the freestyle pod and almost a bicycle on the other side.
Well, he ends it in fashion as well, and I know he's going to come out for a vengeance in freestyle. But Brian Wright hooked a really great wheelie on the crush car, sits it on the tailgate, and walks it across that. The fans are going to love that. Looks like he's going for a little bit of a popper here as well. You can tell the hood's already beat up. Doesn't have anything to lose there. He gets a lot of height, but when he tries to catch that and hits that brake, it looks like it might have hurt the truck a little bit. Still gets a 7.341. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
And Jimmy Creed off the pad gets some nice size in that wheelie, extends it for a long period of time. A great first hit and a popper trying to get the nose wheelie, doesn't quite get it, and ends up on the hood for Jimmy Cretin in Bounty Hunter. Just when we think we've seen everything from Tom Meents, he goes and does something that we've never seen before. Bryce, you talk about wow moments. That was a wow moment for this San Diego crowd.
Well, Tom Meents is a master at nose wheelies, but what's so interesting about this maneuver, he starts it with the back tires on the backflip container, gives it some throttle, hits the brake, gets it easily up on the nose, but what is so awesome is he sets it back on top of the container to end the stunt, and that is so special.
Let's hear from our Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge winner, Tom Meents, Max D Fire.
So Tom, this is 2 weeks in a row we're seeing you pull off that fantastic move off the backflip ramp. So where did you find this move and decide to put it into play here in the 2-Wheel Skills Challenge?
Well, we worked on it during the Max D Encore last year, and I thought, hey, let's bring it to competition this year. You know, we like to call it the maximum moonwalk, because nobody currently is doing it other than us. So that's what we're going to call it, maximum moonwalk. But hey, we're having a great time. The fans here in San Diego are seeing an awesome show. I can't wait to get out there and drive Max D to total destruction in freestyle.
Here are your final standings for the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge. Tom Meents with that maximum moonwalk getting 14 points, well deserved. Now let's take a look at the event standings going into freestyle. Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter with a slight lead over Morgan Payne and Gravedigger, but it's anybody's game because now it's time for Monster Jam Freestyle.
Well, all the Monster Jam drivers absolutely love this competition. It's the crowning jewel of Monster Jam. And you're going to want to complete as much of your 120-second run as possible, hit as many obstacles as you can, but the big thing is the wow factor. And the fans are wanting that wow factor. They're wanting to get up out of their seats. And Jim Kohler with some massive air to start off his freestyle. That's what the fans want to see because Jim Kohler is making a statement right now. He's saying, guys, I'm here. You better pay attention, get your phones out, because I'm about to give you a minute.
Now, we heard him earlier saying that he likes to scout out his jumps, so he knows what he's going to do when he gets in the truck. Of course, you got to listen to the fans, and a huge jump for Jim Kohler getting back up on the back two tires for a nice wheelie.
Well, you're right. The steepness of these ramps are clearly serving Jim to go out there and do some massive hits, and he can control that. I've never seen someone that can run on the ragged edge like Jim Kohler can do, but still look like he's in total control.
And Jim Kohler has been to the top of the mountain twice, 2003 and 2011, Monster Jam World Finals Freestyle Champion. Would love to get back there and would love to be the best in the world once again. Another nice jump for Jim Kohler in Avenger, using every inch of this freestyle track.
Well, he was someone last year that anytime I had to follow Jim Kohler in freestyle, I got all kinds of butterflies in my stomach because of things like this. He almost pulled off one of the craziest saves I've ever seen, an 8.608 I think that's a very good score to start off the night.
Yeah, Mr. Excitement getting the crowd in San Diego very excited. Here's Eric Swanson in Obsessed, somebody I think is very underrated. He competed last year in the Double Down Showdown, 2 years ago in the Double Down Showdown, finished in second, and has won 2 freestyle events already in his career. The first came right here at Petco Park.
Well, he's going to want to pick up his energy just a little bit. If you're going to send a statement to the fans and the other drivers, you do something like that. You get some massive air, and he combos into a stoppie off of massive air off of that transition. That is what Eric Swanson needs to keep doing this entire run.
I love the classic look on the Obsessed body. His dad, Rick from Menifee, California, drives Obsession, owns both trucks, is on the crew, very proud of his son Eric, and he's a guy that can surprise you night in and night out and does especially well in these West Coast events.
Well, I also think that he's done a great job at filling the clock. He understands, hey, I want to go around, I want to take my time a little bit, and I want to hit as many obstacles as I can. Now, the big thing is what I mentioned before, which is momentum. If you can study drivers, you want to see how many hits they're making in 120 seconds. They're going to fill that clock. You got to hit a lot of jumps as well. And right now, I'd say Eric needs to still pick up the energy just a little bit to get around the track and hit more jumps.
And the 30-second clock is up. Now it's time to really show the crowd what you are capable of. This kid has to get up behind him. He needs that wow factor, Bryce, in the final 20 seconds of freestyle.
There might be something a little bit wrong with that truck. He looks like it's a little bit upset, but he's lining up for the Monster Energy backflip ramp. Not a ton of momentum hitting the container, and unfortunately it doesn't give him the rotation he needs.
So we'll have more Monster Jam freestyle right after this. We are back with more Monster Jam action from Petco Park in San Diego. So far, 2 great freestyle runs, but more drivers on the way, including our reigning World Finals freestyle champion, Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger. Right now, let's go down to the track for more Monster Jam freestyle highlights and Bryce, possible mechanical damage for Brian Wright's Hooked.
Yeah, if you recall in the Race Plus 2-Wheel Skill Challenge, Brian Wright came down really hard on the front end of that Hooked Monster Jam truck. I think he damaged it because he had to be very conservative in his freestyle run. A 3.039, not the best score for him, but Dawn Cretin and Scarlet Bandit, she's someone that understands how to have a very consistent freestyle across 120 seconds, but I want to see a little bit more momentum, a little bit more energy from her, getting around that track and hitting more jumps.
5.556 for Dawn Cretin and Scarlet Bandit. Morgan Kane in Gravedigger, a great jump off the freestyle pod. That is the way you want to start a freestyle run. Sticks the landing, got it up on 2 wheels, and look at how he gets that sideways acceleration on that Gravedigger Monster Jam truck.
You can tell that Morgan Kane is comfortable in this truck. He's getting the truck very upset, but he's able to collect it. A 7.140, that looks a little low to me.
Cynthia Gauthier, Monster Mutt Dalmatian. We've seen Cynthia have some great freestyle runs throughout her young career and is rocking that brand new Monster Mutt Dalmatian ice body. Tries to save it up, ends up on the hood. Almost got it there, but not quite enough. Here's your BKT freestyle top 5. It is Jim Kohler and Adventure. 8.308, move it on. And here's John Gordon. John Gordon, another guy. Digger lineage was the crew chief for Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, now behind the wheel of Bad Company.
Well, go on social media and seek out John Gordon and look at this truck. Making this a beautiful machine. Well, he doesn't want this to look that beautiful by the end of the truck. He wants to make sure the fans are getting out of the seat. Massive air on that transition. That's the way to do it.
You saw the view inside the cab. John Gordon bouncing up and down the pressure of the 12,000-pound Monster Jam truck, coming with G-force Bryce. That's 96,000 pounds of pressure on another jump. Tries to land it. Almost got the nose up and doesn't quite save it. Great run for John Gordon and Bad Company. 7.851.
Great effort from him, but Steve Sims in Stone Crusher, he wants to make sure that he's leaving his statement here in San Diego, and so far it's been a little bit of a quiet night for Steve. But he's been doing this a really long time, and he's somebody that understands that, hey, I might not be the fastest getting around the track, but he's going to make sure and hit whatever comes up in front of him as well. And so I understand that anytime that he grabs that steering wheel, he's aiming for a nice step up just like that. He wants to get that big air.
Steve Sims, one of my favorite stories in Monster Jam. That was off to Dennis Anderson as another great jump for Steve Sims in Stoke. And there goes the tire, the front left tire coming off of Stone Crusher 7. 1:08.80.
I think the fans were ready for a little bit of carnage from what I can see, and they got it from Steve Sims. That season championship, and he's someone that understands the finesse side of these Monster Jam machines. Really nice air off of that transition hit, but it sounds almost counterintuitive to say the finesse side of driving these machines, but it is. There's so many drivers out there that clearly understand how to go out there and really get the power out of these things and bonsai a truck off of a jump. But the skill really comes in being able to control these things. And Justin really has come a huge and long way.
And when you go to these arena shows and Triple Threat Series, you look out on the track, you see that one obstacle, that one freestyle pad, and then you come to stadiums, and you have so much more. A nice jump there for Justin Sipes in Megalodon. There's so many more obstacles and things to use, and you have
a plan, but also I see him have a little bit more energy, a little bit more momentum than he's had so far this freestyle run. It makes me wonder if he's trying to save the truck a little bit for some sort of wow moment he might have in mind.
You don't have to do anything spectacular or jumping over the obstacles, hitting the crush cars, some nice elevation, accelerates, gets them off. The crowd is going to be into it if you just keep jumping, keep the truck moving. He's doing just that and making the most of it. The 30-second clock gets up, a nice sky wheelie, not quite elevated straight up, but still gets enough space to clear the pad.
You notice him hit the brake, that's allowing him to control the pitch of the truck midair. It was way too heavy with the nose coming too high up in the air. He tapped the brake and brought the front nose down. But he looks like he's lining up for the Monster Energy backflip. Excellent rotation. I think that's the first backflip that Justin Sipes ever landed.
That is the first backflip successfully landed for Justin Sipes in Megalodon. Great score, 9.645. That is your new leader, Justin Sipes in Megalodon. Up next, more Monster Jam Freestyle from Petco Park in San Diego. Scott, Jordan, Bryce, Kenny calling the action. We're right in the middle of Monster Jam Freestyle. 5 trucks left to compete, including 2-time Ryan Anderson, son of a trigger. A great jump to get this crowd on their feet early into a wheelie, Bryce.
Well, that's a huge, huge attitude that he's laying down to the competitors right off of the bat. And Ryan Anderson is someone that if you listen to his throttle rhythm, listen to the throttle kind of peppering on and off as he's getting around the track, you want to control the truck by the throttle. When you let off, it's actually less control there. And Ryan really wrote the book when it came to throttle rhythm. Maybe his dad did, Dennis. But Ryan is someone that has really perfected it. I study him. Just study somebody when it comes to the pitch of the truck midair, getting that massive air and controlling where that truck is going to land and what you're going to do after the truck lands. This is the guy you need to study.
No freestyle from then the legendary Dennis Anderson, of course Ryan's brother Adam Anderson, great digger, also a world freestyle champion. Ryan Anderson was able to match that last year with a great freestyle run in Las Vegas. Now trying to do it again, but that score that Justin Sipes got from Megalodon, look at that wheelie off the freestyle pad. That score from Justin Sipes could be very tough to beat in Megalodon.
Well, he knows how to run on the right edge. He's so good at really throttling across the entire floor there, understanding what he's going to hit next. And that's what I love about Ryan Anderson. As soon as that truck is in the air, he already knows what he's going to do next. You saw him kind of turning to the left midair. That's because he knows he's going to come around here and hit the next obstacle.
Ryan Anderson's a guy who says he doesn't care about the points. He wants to leave it all out on the track for the fans. 30 seconds left on the clock. We're waiting to see something spectacular from Ryan Anderson, son of a digger. Almost looked like he was going for a donut there, Bryce.
Well, it looked like he's lining up for that Monster Energy backflip ramp and wanted to just try to get it whipped around as quickly as he could. Gets nice momentum heading into the dumpster. Great rotation, and he gets to the moonwalk that he did last year at the Monster Jam World Finals.
Yeah, we saw that in almost a bicycle on the backflip container. Turn of events for Ryan Anderson. Still coming off that ramp. Sideways elevating the clock. But Ryan Anderson is not. He's going to go a little more for the fans in San Diego in a spectacular move. and he saves it at the end before he ends up on the hood. That is the wow moment we've been waiting for in freestyle.
You know he has to be happy with a 9.829 score. These fans have to be happy with that. Imagine the footage that they're taking home with them that's going to end up on social media. Ryan's pumped, and he should be.
And Ryan Anderson out in the truck always loves getting the fans on their feet, and he does that. Jimmy Cretan, former world final freestyle champion, but going to be very tough to follow Ryan Anderson.
Well, notice this Bounty Hunter truck. It has a lot of power to it. It has a big motor in this truck. And with the way that the truck sits, a little bit lower center of gravity, and so we usually see a lot of slap wheelies. We see a lot of times when he hits a jump and brings that front end up off of the ground. It's something that he's not only just good at, but it's easy for him in the way that this truck is set up.
And you get a good look on Bounty Hunter at the shock tower. 2 on the front side, 2 on the back side, and then 8 total filled with nitrogen. And the nitrogen helps because it expands and contracts and allows a safer landing. Almost allows that 96,000 pounds of force to land light as a feather.
Well, he's really landing the truck well, and that gets him to the next obstacle. That's one of the things that I really like about him as well. He hits something, and he's typically always lined up for the next thing. So he's doing a really nice job so far of kind of planning out his freestyle and wanting to do it the right way.
And there aren't many around that have done it as good as Jim Cretan. A nice wheelie, gets back up on the rear tires. They've done it as good as Jim Cretan for as long as he's done it. He's been around for a long time, competed in every Monster Jam World Final since 2002. Jimmy Cretan, Bounty Hunter, one of those drivers that has done it so good, so long, and it's just been one of the best in the business.
Yeah, he gets a lot of control too midair. Just like a couple of the other drivers I've mentioned, you notice him kind of tapping the brake there midair, and that brings the front end of that Bounty Hunter truck down so that he can land the truck evenly, and that again allows him to line up for the next hit.
Looking for that it's something when there's not much left in that corner of the track to get the crowd excited. San Diego feeling Jimmy Cretan and Bounty Hunter, looking for his next move at the backflip ramp, and Jimmy Cretan is up and lands it a beautiful backflip, gets the front 2 tires down. Jimmy Cretan getting an exclamation point on a solid freestyle run. Currently in the points lead. Will it be enough to get the overall event championship? Up next is the Science of Monster Jam, fueled by Monster Energy.
What's going on, guys? I'm Cody Saucier. This is the Science of Monster Jam, fueled by Monster Energy.
When we got together and really started talking about the design of the Bakugan Dragonoid truck, we really wanted to have the toy and the truck be as close as they can. That's always the goal.
One of the biggest challenges that we had with designing Bakugan Dragonoid is placing the whole dragon body on our Monster Jam chassis.
You know, that horn on the character's face is so symbolic, so we really wanted to represent that. Now, traditionally, we try and not put things in the way of our driver's sightlines, but in that case, we were able to make it very thin. From the driver's perspective, they're able to see right past that thin line and still be able to safely perform and give an amazing show.
The second biggest challenge we had was placing the tail on here. Even though it would be cool if you could drag on the floor, unfortunately, it's not up to our regulations.
You know, I think one of the greatest pleasures that we have, and especially now that we get to share with such amazing partners over at Spin Master, is really enjoying the final product.
To see these files that I have here in this virtual world and then coming and seeing it in a live show, that's the biggest reward that I have.
It's great, it's amazing, and especially when you're working with such creative and collaborative people, it's really an amazing experience.
Camden Murphy, the current season point leader on Stadium Championship Series 1, comes over from Pirates Curse City's great new truck, Bakugan Dragonoid, and now is trying to elevate himself here in freestyle.
Well, you notice the body is completely destroyed from that rollover and two-wheel spill, and so he doesn't really have to save anything. And the nice thing is he can go ahead and rip off the rest of it for these awesome Monster Jam fans. And Camden Murphy is somebody that has grown exponentially in just a very short career already with Monster Jam as well. This, to me, is a future Monster Jam World Champion. In racing and freestyle and two-wheel skill, I mean, really the sky's the limit for this guy.
And made it to the finals last year in the Double Dash Showdown. Making it into the World Finals. Great racing field. Now Camden Murphy, who's been so successful in arena shows as well as stadium shows, and actually, Bryce, he's filled in for you before.
He has, and he did a great job as well, and he's doing an awesome job here in San Diego as well for all of these new Spin Master fans and everybody that wants to see this truck do well. He's an awesome representative for that brand already, and I'm curious to see just how quickly this fan base grows for him.
This exciting new truck, of course, with a partnership with Spin Master Toys. A great jump for Camden Murphy. Gets on the back tires, tries to get it up over the freestyle pod, doesn't quite make it, but still gets down off of it, still up on the tires, and still trying to get that one solid moment to get the crowd up on their feet.
Well, I love his throttle control, both in the air and on the ground in the corners. He's able to control that truck. Looks like he's lining up for that Monster Energy backflip ramp as well. Huge air, a little bit of a rotation. Let's see if he'll save it. No, not quite, an 8.140.
Monster Jam World Finals is coming to Orlando, Florida. Camping World Stadium May 10th and 11th. For the first time ever, we will crown 7 world champions. Get your tickets now at monsterjam.com. Saw the crazy bull. You see the size. The fans are ready. This is Brad Allen and El Toro Loco. We've been up and down the road with Brad. He is a guy that brings it every single night, can compete with anyone, and can beat anyone on any given night. Getting that El Toro Loco truck around the turn, up on the freestyle pod, tries to stick in a nose wheelie, almost gets it, flips over, and saves it. Brad Allen with a great save in El Toro Loco.
That was a great save by Brad Allen. There's so much composure as well. You can't teach that. That's something that as a driver, you just have to have the patience to be able to collect the truck, and Brad Allen did an excellent job of doing that.
Brad Allen, a protege of Jim Kohler, a member of Team Scream. So what a great guy to be able to look up to and learn on the road in Jim Kohler. Brad Allen pushing that El Toro Loco truck to the limit. Another great jump, gets it a little bit of a bicycle around the turn, using that freestyle track to his advantage.
Well, there is nothing that gets you more pumped up and psyched as a driver than a good save, especially at the beginning of a freestyle run like this. And so I'm noticing, you can tell he's got a ton of energy, a ton of momentum getting around that track, because he has nothing to lose after that.
No, and he knows he had a great save already, so able to slow down, look at the entire track, get it in front of him, and plot his next move. Trying to get the fans back up on their feet, get excited, get that score, some great air, and he is pushing it up on the side of the El Toro Loco truck. Look at him pushing that thing into the ground.
Well, I love the fact that the track's kind of breaking away a little bit as well, because it's allowing guys like Brad Allen to get out there and be a little bit quicker, getting the truck turned around. He's doing all of that under throttle. He's not worried about any tackiness in the dirt or anything. He's saying, hey, I'm ready for this next jump. I can push
the extension back over. A great run for Brad Allen.
So it's so awesome to catch up with Bill Goldberg this weekend and his son Gage here at Monster Jam. So, you know, you go way back.
Thanks.
With Tom Menz, back to the Goldberg days. So what made him the perfect driver for your truck?
You know, Tom's a showman, first and foremost. Number 2, he's crazy. And number 3, he's extremely talented. So throwing all of those together like a Yahtzee game and throwing it out there, you never know what you're going to get. And as a person who is a parallel profession, in dealing with the crowd and trying to make them happy, keep them on their toes and keep them guessing every time, he's a perfect driver to be behind the wheel of the Goldberg truck back in the day. And that was way before my boy here was ever born, but I brought him out to the World Finals in Vegas a couple years ago to meet Tom, and Tom doesn't usually do San Diego. We live here in San Diego. We came down to say hello and bring the nephews down, bring my brother down, and you know, it's a family atmosphere. It's what I've always loved about the business, but I love Tom to death. It's great to come see him. It's great to see how well he's doing, both professionally and personally.
So is he still as crazy now as he was when he started driving your truck?
Well, you just saw what he did in the two-wheel competition, right? Absolutely, there's no doubt. Tom is at the top of the game.
WWE Hall of Famer to Surefire Monster Jam Hall of Famer Tom Menz in Max D3 of Tom Meent's 11 World Finals champions were in the Goldberg Monster Jam truck, and he launches Max D Fire off that pod, gets up on 2 wheels, and saves it on the other side. A great opening for Tom Meent in Max D Fire.
Well, his hand was out the window after he collected it so nicely. He's kind of saying to the crowd, hey, you like that? You want a little bit more? You got to get louder. You got to get out of your seats. Where are all my Max D fans in the house?
Now, these are what these fans came for, to see Tom Meent in Max D Fire going last in freestyle. Another great jump. He knows who he has to beat. You see the run from Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger, and if there's anybody that can send these fans home happy, it is Tom Meent.
Well, he is the professor of Monster Jam University for a reason. You notice a little brake check midair to kind of bring it down, but he combos into a moonwalk off of some massive air like that. That's so difficult to do for a normal person. But Tom Meent is not normal. He is certainly part of the elite when it comes to not just the current sport, but the history of Monster Jam.
Tom Meent has seen it all in this sport. He's done it all in this sport, and now out for another go-around in San Diego. It's been an amazing night. Gets sideways off the ramp. Can he save it? He gets around and gets it back on 4 wheels. A great save for Tom Meent.
That is an incredible sidewall save right there, and that is just not easy to do. But Tom Meent is someone that stays composed. You notice a nice little throttle pop right in the middle of it when he wanted to regain that control of that Max D Fire machine, and he did just that.
Now 30 seconds left. He's had some great moments, some great spots in this freestyle run. What has he got up his sleeve for the final 20 seconds? We have not seen a backflip yet from him. Another great launch for that Max D Fire truck as the seconds tick away.
Well, he's lining up, looks like right here for that Monster Energy backflip ramp. He's got to get it around Jim Kohler's Avenger. He's lined up perfectly here. Let's see just how high this one goes. He's known for monster backflip. Kind of ends in a really weird twist there, but a 9.795, not quite high enough, looks like, to take over that top spot.
Here are your freestyle point standings. Tom Meent with a great run, not quite enough to catch Ryan Anderson, the Son of a Digger, getting 14 points and winning freestyle. Right now, let's go down to Leslie Mears, standing by with our freestyle winner.
Ryan Anderson, tonight, it's like you're kind of making this your trademark move here, this backflip to moonwalk, because it's what won you the World Finals and it's what won you freestyle tonight.
Yeah, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to claim that one. It wasn't high enough. I want to get that thing all the way up. But all in all, it was a good run, and one of my favorite parts was that last hit was straight up Dennis Anderson style to the wood. I did not care. I wanted to make sure to splatter that truck across the floor. But man, I'll be honest, tonight was a heck of a night for these fans. All throughout the night, there was some spectacular stuff, some crazy runs. I just lucked out and got the highest score.
Ryan Anderson getting 14 points for winning freestyle. Not quite enough to get to the top of the heap. There are your event standings. Your overall event champion with 36 points, Justin Sipes in Megalodon. Let's hear from our champion.
A huge night here tonight for Justin Sipes. So you land your first ever backflip, and you take the overall event championship. It's a kind of way to kick off the second weekend on the tour.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything else. We went out there, last week didn't quite go as planned. We ended up third, which is good for a start. But I didn't get to do what I wanted to in freestyle. I wanted to do that first ever backflip. So went out, and I just knew I had to keep the truck together and get to that backflip ramp. As soon as I did the backflip, it broke, fell apart, but hey, we got it, and we got the overall.
What a great night of Monster Jam action in San Diego. Bryce, there's that saying, consistency is key. 3 competitions, 3 different winners, none of which was our overall event champion.
Well, there's going to be intense battles on this tour all season long. There are no easy competitors. It is a stacked field. And if you're going to be the overall season champion with this group, you're going to have to bring your A game every single weekend.
We are on social media at Monster Jam and MonsterJam.com. For Bryce Kenny and Leslie Mears, I'm Scott Jordan. This is Monster Jam